The house on Wren Hollow Lane. Lena and Jo weren't ghost hunters. They were just tired city people looking for space, quiet, and a house they could make their own. They found it, cheap and crumbling, on the edge of a forgotten Pennsylvania town. Built in 1892, 3 floors, wraparound porch, isolated enough to be romantic. Charmingly cursed. Jo called it charmingly cursed when they signed the papers. The first strange thing happened 2 nights after they moved in. They were unpacking when Jo asked Lena why she kept whistling that weird old tune. "I didn't whistle anything," Lena said. Her face was pale. Jo shrugged it off, but she didn't sleep well that night. Neither did Lena. The house wasn't overtly haunted. It was subtle. Shadows that didn't match the lighting, cold spots, a door upstairs that never stayed closed, no matter how many times they latched it, whispers in the hallway when both of them were in bed. One night, Jo got up around 2 a.m. to use the bathroom. She stopped at the end of the hallway, staring into the mirror on the wall. For a split second, she saw Lena behind her. Except Lena was still in bed. The woman in the mirror was wearing an old-fashioned nightgown and crying. When Jo turned, no one was there. They found the hidden room by accident, behind a panel in the attic. It was small, windowless, a rusted iron bed, chains, scratches on the wood, like someone had been locked in. There was something else too, initials carved into the wall, ET+M. Lena started having dreams. She'd wake up crying, whispering the name Margaret. When Jo pressed her about it, Lena just shook her head. "She's sad, she's trapped, I can feel her." Jo began researching the house's history. She found an old article in a digital archive from 1901. A woman named Eleanor Thorne had died in the attic. Her death was ruled a suicide. No one claimed her body. There was no mention of a Margaret. Jo started digging deeper. She found letters, buried in the walls during a repair, between Eleanor and Margaret. They were lovers. Margaret had been sent away, likely to one of those moral correctional schools. Eleanor had been locked up by her family to cure her. Lena began to deteriorate. She stopped painting. She barely ate. She stood in the attic for hours at night, staring at the wall with the carved initials. Sometimes Jo would find her murmuring, things she didn't remember saying. Then the scratches returned, new ones, fresh and splintered, appearing near the bed frame. "Words now, let me out." Jo had enough. She contacted a paranormal researcher. The woman walked through the house, quiet the whole time. When she stepped into the attic, she froze. "She's not evil, but she's been waiting over a century. She wants to be seen." That night, Jo lit candles in the attic and read Eleanor's letters out loud. Every one of them. Lena sat beside her, silent, holding her hand. When they finished, the air grew still. Lena gasped, not out of fear but release. "She's gone." After that, the house changed. Warmer, still strange, but no longer oppressive. The mirror stopped showing things it shouldn't. The door stayed shut. Lena started painting again. Mostly women in old-fashioned clothes, walking in wild fields or waiting by windows. The last painting she did of Eleanor showed her standing outside the attic, smiling, looking free. They never tried to sell the house. Months passed peacefully. The house felt lighter. Lena painted like a woman reborn, and Jo finally stopped waking up at 3:13 a.m., the time that used to send a chill through her. They thought it was over. Then the smell started. It wasn't constant, just occasional. Faint, but putrid, like rot. Not the garbage, not the pipes. It came from the staircase leading to the second floor. Jo checked the crawl spaces. Nothing. They called a plumber, an exterminator. Nothing. One night, Jo came home to find Lena standing motionless at the top of the stairs. "Lena?" Lena turned slowly. Her eyes were open, but they didn't see. She was murmuring. "What are you saying?" Lena blinked like waking up, then whispered, "He's in the red room." There was no red room. Scene 10, frantic search. They tore through the house. Nothing. Until Lena insisted they check the cellar again. Behind a set of crumbling bricks, they found a sealed door, red paint, faded but unmistakable. The hinges were rusted shut. It took Jo nearly an hour to break through. The room beyond was small and stone-lined, like a root cellar, but wrong. The air was choking, metallic. Something had been burned there. In the center sat a child's chair, tied to it fraying rope. Carved into the wall, over and over, "Listen, listen, listen." They backed out, called the researcher again. This time she brought someone with her, a quiet man with pale eyes and a strange sensitivity to the house. When he entered the red room, he collapsed. "This wasn't Eleanor's doing. This is older, angrier." He said the room had been used for discipline, not the kind people survived. Likely during the early 1900s, when a group of fundamentalist caretakers occupied the house briefly, turning it into a reformatory for troubled women. Women like Eleanor, the researcher added grimly. That night, Jo dreamt of screaming. Not loud, but constant, like something just beneath her skull. She woke to blood on the floor. Her nose had bled in her sleep. Then Lena started sleepwalking again. One night, Jo followed her, quiet, barefoot, as Lena made her way to the red room. She was humming. Jo didn't recognize the tune. Inside the red room, Lena sat in the child's chair. Jo didn't speak, just watched. She's still here, but she doesn't want help. The smell of rot returned, stronger than ever. Then the door slammed shut behind Jo. She screamed, pounded, kicked, and just as suddenly it opened again. Lena stood in the doorway, confused, holding Jo's arm. "Lena, Vio, I don't remember walking down here, but I dreamed of a girl with black